Hello, old soul. I am convinced, fully convinced, that common sense is no longer common. This is why I've created this page with the idea that the greatest good we can do is to be individuals. Because this group thing is not working. This, I'm black, I'm American, I'm this party or that party, or I believe in this and believe this. It's not working. All it's doing is causing us to be divided, separated, and people do not use common sense. We have been brainwashed into thinking that because I believe in this, because I belong to this group or that group, somehow I have to believe this, this, and this. And if I don't believe this, this, and this, and I only believe part of this, then I'm not a part of that group, and I'm going to get kicked out of that group. So I got to keep my thoughts to myself, even though I disagree with that part of it, but I agree with these other three things. No, we need to be individuals. You need to be authentically yourself. And if you're in a group that thinks that part of what you believe is wrong, well, tough. This is who you are. I am advocating for you to be the number one version of yourself. I need you to be you because common sense is not common anymore. I don't have to convince you of that. Look on the TV, talk to your neighbors and coworkers, and you're going to find that they're saying crazy things. Biological facts are they're convincing you that things that you see and know for sure, the government's telling you that things that common sense tells you doesn't make sense, that no, we've done a study. And the study says this, okay, well, I always thought this meant something, but since the study told me this, then I'm going to change my whole. No. There is a place for scientific research. There is a place for us to re-examine the facts that we know, because there are truths to be uncovered. But when we start taking fundamental, basic building blocks and saying, nope, you're wrong. Well, I need more than a study or a study group. I need to be convinced. Watch the news. It's negative, dark, and there is a bias. Everyone has a bias. Everyone has a skewed view. I have a skewed view. My view is that individuality is number one. So it's going to blind me to some of the negatives of individuality, of people expressing themselves without any kind of guardrails. But it's so many guardrails and there's so many restrictions that I'm fine with ignoring the guardrails. There's a whole government laws, societal rules, religious rules, family. We got enough guardrails. What we need to do is to teach people how to think. Because people have stopped thinking. They no longer have common sense. They allow the news to influence them, negative, certain political parties skewed, and they want you to feel pressured and anxious and constantly running. We need to teach people how to think. And people like you, old soul, are the ones who need to exemplify, because people need things to follow. They need people who are willing to take that brave step. Are you one of those people? And when you take the brave step and you exemplify what it means to be an individual, people will follow you. But what is different is they're going to follow you in your uniqueness, in your standing up to the status quo. So what I'm advocating is that if we all behave as individuals, us, this group, this community that I'm building, people are going to see that and say, well, why is he not listening to the news? Why is he making his own food? Or or has an opinion and he's not afraid to share his opinion. Right now, I see a lot of people who are afraid to say things that offend others. You holding in your thoughts doesn't mean you're not all these isms. It doesn't mean that you're really not an SOB. It just means that you're quiet about it. So I think that you need to focus diligently on the pursuit of individuality into being more and more yourself, being bold and outspoken about this, and then teaching others to do the same. I don't want you guys to watch the news and hear that there was something that happened in the Sahara Desert rainforest, and that means that you need to stop eating meat or you need to stop. There are certain things that we need to be informed of by experts, and that's medical things, unless it's a worldwide issue, and then you can ignore it. You can use common sense. You can say, hey, I don't think wearing is going to stop it because it's never stopped it in the past. We've had all these diseases and that never stopped it. But all of a sudden, this one disease, which is just like a cold, is going to be stopped by this, or 6 feet distance, or demonizing people for saying, hey, this doesn't really make a lot of sense. There was supposed to be 2 million deaths, and now there's not 2 million deaths. And, look, I'm not trying to make it political. I'm saying there is a lot of things that we're being told. There are people who died in a police custody in jail, one of the most high-profile cases of all time, and the guards left him by himself. They took out his cellmate, and he was able to pass away in a method that is impossible with a broken neck. I don't know the rules. I don't know the facts. I'm not an expert. I'm just using common sense and saying something funky is here. And then the people who were involved in this thing were scot-free. The person dying doesn't change that there's a whole bunch of other people who committed crimes. Where's the list? Where are the names? Gone. Oh, it's now a civil case. Isn't it convenient that people who are world leaders who were a part of this are somehow exempt now? Their names are gone. Now, I'm not talking about conspiracy. I'm talking about think for yourself. Question everything. Question me. Disagree with me. I love that. You know why? Because I'm for individual freedom. I'm for an individual person. I'm going to do more on these, but I'm just letting you know that common sense is not common. I can give you example after example. If I come on here and I said, I want you to buy XYZ because it's going to change your life, you should be like, not so sure about that. If I come on here and say, join my community and we're going to do this and everyone is... Stop. What you need is someone who's telling you to be yourself. Be your own guide. And if you don't know something, there is so much information on the internet. Study. There was back in the day, olden days, you're an old soul, they used to teach kids in school how to think critically, how to use their minds, how to examine things and decide what's right and from wrong. And now they say, this is the right way, only study this, and any deviation from that is racism, sexism, bigotism, just evil Nazism. But I would argue that if you teach a man to fish, if you teach a man to think, he will use that skill. You don't need to teach him all these data points and facts and the right way to view history. Do you think as a black man that I need a history book to tell me that it's not right for me to be a slave, that it's possible for a black person to do? I don't need you to do a special African-American history course for me to feel like it's possible. I can know that in my heart of hearts that there's nothing limiting me. Now, I agree that not every person is going to have that wherewithal, but that's how it used to be back in the day. You used to have people who were bold, who were individual, who were strong internally, who were examples for others for which they can follow. Now we're told, tamp down individuality. Don't make waves. Only follow what the state says. Only follow what is socially acceptable. Well, I don't believe in that. I believe that the only way we're going to grow as a community, as a society, as a human race, is to push the boundaries of what is right and what is not what is right and what is wrong, but push the boundaries of how individuality, so that each person, if they maximize in themselves, how many Teslas, how many Thomas Edisons, how many George Washingtons, how many Jeff Bezos are out there? If we just foster and encourage them to be themselves, to pursue the dreams that they have, how much better? There could be a person who can come up with zero energy, or can solve world hunger, or create a world where diseases are eradicated. But we're telling them, be like everyone else. Submit yourself. Don't push your boundaries. Everyone that's made anything of any worth or note in this world pushed the boundaries, and they were not mindless automatons. They pushed the boundaries and they said, I believe in this no matter what anyone else tells me, and they created something new. So once again, common sense is no longer common. We need to teach people how to think, and we need people who are individuals who are trying to be themselves and not be a part of the collective group. We can form groups of like-minded people, but when that group fails to contain you, you need to burst out of that, and you need to start something new. There was when I was in the Christian church, when I was within the church community, there was this axiom that why is it when a church becomes so big for the neighborhood that they build a bigger building and invite more people in, when the old school way of doing it was that you would train up men to go to another location and build a church there and plant churches, so that it's never too big that you never know who the pastor is. And it allows men who are gifted to become preachers and teachers, and it expands out. But no, what we do now is we build a bigger church, a 10,000 church, a 100,000 people church, and no one knows anyone, and no one's getting any kind of edification. But the guy is getting rich. He's becoming this great pastor, and he's known everywhere. But when he dies, the church dies, because he was the church. Now, I don't want to get religious. I'm giving an example that some of you might understand what I'm saying. Or you have a rap artist who is big and everyone's trying to copy his style. When he dies, the style dies. You need to teach people how to rap, teach people how to do music, teach people how to art, teach people how to think, so that they can continue and grow. We need innovators, trailblazers. We need people who are not afraid to change the system so that the system can be better. Unless you think everything is perfect the way it is, then more power to you. You're on the wrong video. Anyway, I will talk about this some more. These are just some of my thoughts. Join me. Let's create something new, something completely you.